Hey everyone, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. This is Style with Chica, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I went about the making of this beautiful dress I have on. I got this inspiration from Total Naija. It was actually requested by a lot of you, and I'm very excited to share this tutorial with you. If this is something you're interested in learning, keep on watching. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, hit on that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your post notification so you'll be one of the first to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And let's get started. For this project, I'm going to be making use of 3 yards of crepe fabric. This crepe fabric is by length 60. So to optimize use of this material, I'm going to be drafting out my pattern first, and then I'll transfer my pattern to this fabric here. So first off, I'm going to draw a straight line at this point. This is going to be my starting line, and it's also going to be my shoulder line. From this point, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and I'll leave a mark at this point. So because of the gathers of the shoulder, I'm going to add an extra 10 inches of allowance, just like this. From this point I added this 10 inches of allowance, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I'll just leave a mark at that point. I'm going to come to this point and I'm going to mark out my neck width. My neck width is going to be 3 inches, and my neck depth for my front is going to be 8 inches. So I'll connect to form a V neckline like this. So from this point of my neck width, I'm going to connect to meet this point of my shoulder slope. So from this point of my shoulder slope, I'm going to mark out my armhole measurement downward. It's also going to be my sleeve opening. So for that, I'm going to take my bust measurement and I'll divide my bust measurement by 6. Whatever I have, I'm going to add 1.5 to it. After I did that, I had about 7.6. So I'm just going to approximate it to 8 inches. 7.6 is around this point here. So I'm just going to use 8 inches for this sleeve opening and also for my armhole. So I'll leave a mark at 8 inches. And then from this 8 inches point, I'm just going to connect upward like this. So placing my tape here, I'm going to mark out my bust line. So my bust line is at 11 inches. I'll mark out my under bust line at 14 inches. I'll mark out my waistline. My waistline is at 16.5 inches. So next, I'm going to mark out my hip line. So my hip line is at 26 inches. I'll leave a dot at 26 inches. So this is where this gather is supposed to start from, but 26 inches will be a bit too low. So from that point, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. That's where I want my gathers to start. So you're going to get your hip line, and then from your hip line, you come up by 2 inches. So since this is my hip line at 26 inches, coming up by 2 inches, I will have 24 inches. So I'm going to leave a mark at 24 inches. So this is now my new length of my upper bodice piece. I do hope you understand. So now I'm just going to draw straight lines across this point like this. So guys, I've gone ahead to label this line so we do not get confused. This is my bust line, which is my shoulder to my bust point. This is my under bust line, which is my shoulder to my under bust. This is my waistline, which is my shoulder to my waist. And this is my new hip line. This hip line, I'm going to explain again that it was gotten by coming up 2 inches from my actual hip line measurement. So now I'm going to come to my under bust line, and on my under bust line, I'm going to divide my round under bust measurement by 4. My round under bust measurement is 31. Divided by 4, I have 7.75, which is also called 7.5 1/4. So it's somewhere around this point that I have here. I'm going to go ahead and leave this mark here. So from this point, I'm going to add an extra allowance of 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and take my waist measurement again. My round waist measurement divided by 4 is still the same thing as my under bust, so I'll just go ahead and mark it out. It's the same measurement on my body. It may not be the same measurement as your body type, so go ahead and measure yours. Your waist may be bigger than your under bust, or your under bust may be bigger than your waist. But for me, my under bust and my waist is the same measurement. So from this waistline now, I'm going to add the same 1.5 allowance for sewing. So I'm going to come to my new hip line now, and I'll take my round hip measurements. I'll divide my round hip measurements by 4. My round hip measurements is 43. 43 divided by 4 gives me 10.75, which is 10 and a half and a quarter. This is 10.75. I'll go ahead and mark this out here, and I'll add the same 1.5 inches allowance. So from these 3 points now that I have here, I'll just go ahead and connect these points like this. Okay, so at this point, there's meant to be a box that curls like this. It's called a box. So what I'm going to do now is to place my tape this way, and I'll take the measurement I have within this point, and then I'll divide it by 2. So what I have here is 8. I'm going to take the midpoint of 8, which is 8 divided by 2, and it gives me 4 inches, and I'll leave a mark at that point. From this point now, I'll connect to this point to give me a curve. So just use the best ruler you can that will give you that curve to connect. So I'm just going to connect this way like this. Alright guys, so from this point, I'm just going to come up on my underbust line by 1 inch. Okay, I'll come up on my underbust line by 1 inch here, and then I'll connect with a straight line just like this. So I'll connect this outward like this. So after I've done that now, from this point, I'm just going to come in by about 3 inches. So I'll come in by 3 inches, and these 3 inches now, look at where I'm marking it out. I'm marking it out on this line. All right, I'm marking it out on this line, and I'll also mark it out on this line. So now I'm just connecting these points to meet the armhole like this. So please, I didn't know that this wasn't filming. I came in by 3 inches from this line, and I marked it out on this line and this line. So I'll just go ahead and I'll cut this out. Alright guys, so at this point now, this first line that I have here is for my front neckline. For my front neckline and my back neckline, it's not going to be the same measurements. My back neckline is going to be more open. So to do that now, I'm just going to place my tape here again, and then I'll come down by my back neckline measurement, which I want it to be 10 and a half. So from this 10 and a half now, I am just going to connect upward like this. I still connected to meet the same 3 inches here because the back and the front is supposed to align. So to start cutting, I will just cut out the front neckline first, and when it's time to cut out the back, I will show you guys how to trim this. Alright guys, I'm going to transfer my pattern now to my fabric. To do that, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into 2, just like you can see like this. I'll take this fabric now and I'll place it right on top of this like this. So while I'm placing it like this, I will make sure that I have at least 1.5 inch of allowance here that I'll be using for this neckline, because I'm going to join it at this center. Okay, so I've left a bit of allowance around here, and I left a bit of allowance at the top. So now I'm just going to use this for weight to hold down this pattern paper like this. So guys, from this line here now, I'll just make use of my ruler and I will complete it this way like this. And after I complete it, I will just add an extra 1/2 inch of allowance, which I'm going to be using to join this to the lower piece. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'll cut this out just like this. Alright guys, so at this point now, I'll go ahead and come out by about 1/2 inch just like this. So look how I am doing. So this is just me extending this point, so I will not cut directly on the neckline. If not, it will affect my neckline measurements. So So after I cut it out like this, at this top part too, I will not cut it out directly on the line. I will also leave the same amount of allowance. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this bottom piece. Alright guys, so now I'm going ahead to fold my material into two again. So please, if you notice the way I'm folding, first of all, I said this material is by length 60. Okay, it's 3 yards, but it's by length 60. And the way I'm folding like this. So this is the top part, and I'm just folding it this way because I want to use the upper part here to cut out the top part of the dress, and then I'll use the lower parts which I did not tamper with for the flay. If you cut for the gathers, sorry, if you cut it this way, it's going to help you to save material. I wouldn't be needing so much material for this style, except maybe you are on the bigger side or you want more gathers to yours. Okay, I do hope you understand. Just make sure you're folding your material in a way that maximizes its use. So after this, I'm just going to place my piece directly on top like this. I'll support this again. But please notice that while I'm placing this one directly at the edge. Okay, so I'll place it this way, and then I'll go ahead and I'll cut this out. So guys, please notice that I did not add extra allowance at the top here. This is because I came up on my under bust line by 1 inch initially, so that's why I'm not adding any extra allowance. So now to cut out the back, remember that I have already mapped out this line to be my back neckline. So I'm just going to cut out my back neckline now, just like this. Alright guys, so now I'm going to have to place this for fabric weight, and I have my allowance here at the side. I'll go ahead now and complete my back like this. But for my back now, I'm not going to be adding any allowance at the down part. I'll take this piece again, and now I'm just going to work on it. So at this waist point here, because I want to prevent zipper bulge, I'm going to come to this point, and on my waistline here, I'm just going to come out by about 1/4 or 1/2 of an inch, just like you can see. When I come out up to about 1/4 or 1/2 of an inch, I'm going to connect these points like this. When I connect these points like this, I'll go ahead and cut this line open. I'll also cut on this point, just like this. So now what I'm going to do now is that I will just trim out this part to the best that I can, but be careful not to cut it. So now that it's like this, I'm just going to make this to overlap. You see this line that I drew here? I'll just make this to overlap like this. So now this is what I have for my back. I'll go ahead and use this and cut it out. Okay guys, so now I'm gonna head to lay this on top of my fabric. After folding it in two, I'll place this on top again for fabric width, and then I'll cut out as so. So this opening I have here now is for my zipper allowance. Right, so this is what it now looks like. Alright guys, so just so you guys understand better, I'm now showing you a clearer view of what this material looks like. So you can see that from the upper part, that's where I was cutting from. So now this lower part that is remaining, because this material was long, it was by length 60. This lower part that is remaining is the part that I'm going to be using for the gathers. So I'll just trim off this excess now that you can see here, and I'll use this remaining part for the gathers. So if you cut your clothes with this pattern, you're going to have enough material. Alright guys, so to start sewing, I'm going to start with my upper pieces. So this is my back piece here. I've gone ahead to mark this out so I know which part is the back and which part is the front, because this is very confusing. Okay, I did the same thing for this part. So I went ahead to cut out an interfacing which I'll be using to turn in the neckline. So this is the neckline of the back. Okay, so So what I'm just going to do now at this point is to extend this all the way down like this. So from here, I'm just going to trim this upward like this. So looking at the style again, I realized that this part went all the way down. So this is why I'm trimming this part. So please don't get confused. Just go ahead and trim yours like this. Or if you can, correct yours from the pattern paper. Alright. So now this is what I have for my back neckline. So now for this back piece, I've gone ahead to cut out an interfacing for it, which is just a straight material like this because it's a straight back. Okay, so this is about 3 or 2.5 inches wide. Okay, so I'm just going to place them now, right sides facing each other. I'll place it here, and then I'll place this one here also. So what I'm just going to do now is to sew on half of an inch to join these pieces together like this. I'll sew on half of an inch downward like this. Alright guys, now I'm gonna head to sew down on it, but I'm just going to be using one side now to illustrate because I want to give this a clearer view. So let me zoom in so you guys can see better. So guys, as I was saying, this is the neckline and I've gone ahead to sew down on it just like you can see. So I made this a little bit too long, so I'm trimming off the excess now. So I'm just going to go ahead now and top stitch on it. So this is what I mean by top stitching. So this is the lining piece, right, which I just used to turn this neckline. So are you seeing this piece that is sticking out here? I'm just going to hold down on it and then I will sew on it. So basically I'm sewing and it's facing the side of the lining like this. Do you understand? So I'm just going to go ahead and sew down on this. So guys, after sewing on it, this is what it looked like. Can you see what I was talking about now? I've sewed down to the lining piece here. So what this does is that it gives the neckline a better look. It makes it relax to the back. This interfacing now, once I iron it, it's not going to come out. It's just going to relax at the back like this. So now this is what I've done. I'll go ahead and repeat it to the other side and I'll give it a good press while using my hemming gum inside of this place. Alright, so after I was done sewing and ironing on it, this is what it looks like. You can see that it's more relaxed right now. So these are the both sides of my back. So I'm going to take my front piece, which I have also worked on, and I'm going to place them right sides facing each other, just like this. And I'm just going to sew along the shoulder line. I'll be sewing along the shoulder line by about 1 inch. I'll do that to both sides. So guys, after I was done joining the shoulders together, this is what it looks like. So to continue, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll give this a good press. I'll make sure that I open this seams like this and I'll iron down on it so it looks very flat like this. So guys, after I was done, this is what it looks like. So I want to prepare my drawstrings as my shoulders. So to prepare my drawstrings, I'm just simply folding the rough edge inside, just like you would normally hem your dress. Fold the rough edge inside very little, and then you're going to sew down very slowly on it, just like you can see me doing. This may be looking a bit fast, but I actually did this very slow, and I just had to add a little speed to it while I was editing this video. So just make sure that you're going very slow, and then you're sewing on it. Whatever you do to one side, you're going to do to the other, and it's just going to turn out perfect just like you can see me doing it. And after I was done with the two sides, this is what I had this looking like. And this is what it looked like from the front. Alright guys, after I was done sewing, this is what it looks like. So now I have two holes here and I have two holes here. So I went ahead to also make two ropes. So with the help of my safety pin, I'm just going to pass this through each of the holes just like this. So guys, now that I'm done passing these ropes through, I'm just going to sew down on it and then I'll just trim this off. So guys, after I was done, this is what it looked like, and I just went ahead to do the same thing to this other side also. So I just want to explain something for this shoulder part. If you'd want your sleeves longer, you can go ahead and add up to 15 inches, even 20 inches. But for me, remember that I just added 10 inches to my original shoulder measurement. Okay, so it all depends on how big you want this side to be and the amount of material you have. So I'm just going to take this piece now, and this is my front part here. I'll take the other part, I'll take my front part. So remember that I added 1 inch of allowance at this side. So I'll go ahead and sew down on this side now by 1 inch. Now that I'm done, this is what it looks like, and this is what the front neckline is looking like. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and join these sides together. Okay, I'll join on half of an inch. I'll sew on this side on half of an inch, and then I'll take this other part together and I'll sew on half of an inch. Please note that I've already hemmed in the edge of this sleeve even before I started with my drawstrings. Okay, and after I was done sewing on this side, this is what I had. Okay, and I went ahead to do that on both sides. I'm just going to flip this over to the front now. Now let's go ahead and give all of this a good press. Okay guys, so for this other part of my gown, remember that I added 1.5 inch for my stitching allowance. So I'm just going to come here and then I'll mark out that 1.5 inch like this. Alright guys, so now what I'm going to do is to open this piece up like this, and then I'll place them just as it's meant to be, one at this side and I'll place the other at the other side like this. So I'm just going to pin this down and then I'll sew on these lines to give me my body's measurement. So after I've joined it on both sides, I just opened this up, and from the edge here, I made sure to measure all throughout this piece to make sure that what I have here is the same as my underbust measurement and not too small. Now I'm going ahead to notch the midpoint between this joining and this joining. I notched the midpoint, but I did that off camera. Okay, so this midpoint now is where this middle line here, that's the neckline, is going to be attached to. So it's going to be attached here just like this. I'll go ahead and then I'll pin down on it. So for my side here, the side of my clothes here is going to be attached to it like this. I'll also go ahead and pin down on it. And for my last side here, the side here is going to be attached to the side here. I'll go ahead and then I'll pin down on it. Hey guys, so now that I've pinned down on it, I will gather this longer piece to this my underbust piece here. But when I'm going to gather, I will not start from here. This is because I have a zipper allowance, so I'll start from here. I hope you do understand. I'll start from here to gather on it, and I'll go ahead and do that and show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so guys, I'm going to go ahead and attach my gathers to this. But to do this now, you want to arrange your clothing just like you see that I've done to mine. And from the shoulder points here, you're going to place your tape here and then you're going to measure downward like this. What I have here is 24 inches. So to complete the rest of this gown, I'm going to take my full gown length measurements. For this particular dress, because I wanted to sweep the floor, my full gown length is going to be 62 inches. So I'm going to minus 62 inches from 24 inches, and what I have is about 38 inches. So which means that the material that I'm going to be cutting out for these gathers is going to be 38 inches plus the sewing allowance. So guys, to cut out my gathers, I've gone ahead to arrange my material on the floor like this so you guys can see it very well. I have my material just in a fold so I can cut everything at once. Okay, so because that part I just showed you guys, after I minus it, what I had was 38 inches. I'm going to be measuring down 38 inches. So I'll place my tape this way and then I'm just going to measure down 38 inches. But then I'm going to be adding an extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. This 2 inches is going to be what I will use to fold in the legs of this trouser. So I'll go ahead and extend this line like this. Alright guys, so now that I've extended this line like this, I will just cut it out at that point and this is the material I'm going to be using for the gathers. Alright guys, so now that I've cut out this material for the gathers just like I've shown you guys, I'm going to open up this piece like this. Alright, I'm going to be gathering all around the edge like this. So I'll just place my material this way, and from the edge here, from the very edge here, I am just going to start gathering it inward, and I'll just do that and I'll show you guys what it sounds like. Whatever you do, just make sure that you're spreading out your gathers even. You don't let one part be more gathered than the other. So guys, after I was done attaching the gathers to the upper part, this is what it looks like. I also went ahead to just fold in the base of the gown, and this is what it also looks like. So now I'm just going to work on my zipper. So for my zipper, it's going to be at the back here. Right, this open back here, I'm just going to arrange them like this. I'll bring the two sides together like this. So all this other part now, I'm just going to give it an inner weaving, okay? So now for my zipper, I'm going to align this point like this. My zipper is going to be from here till here, okay? So from here now to the base, I'm just going to close it all the way down. So like I was done sewing on it, this is what I had. So at this other part now, okay, this other part that is left, I'm just going to attach my zipper. So for this, I couldn't find a very close match. I'm just going to be using this one. That was the closest I could find. I'm going to attach my zipper on this side here, and then I'll attach my zipper on this side here. Hey guys, so as I was done working on my zipper, this is what it looks like, okay? Like I said, I'll give everything inside of it a very good weave, and I'll give it a very good press. And this is basically what I have for this dress. I do hope you found the tutorial very helpful. If you did, do not forget to leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more amazing tutorials like this. And tell me what you think about this dress in the comment section if you'll be trying it out, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.